Hello again. Good weekend. I guess that's kind of a weird thing to say. Hello. It's been all right. It's been an all right week. Hasn't been a perfect week by any stretch of the imagination. Now that I come to think of it, there's a lot of stuff this week that went down. A lot of stuff. Yeah, that was all this week. It's been a crazy week. I'm trying to be optimistic though, because there's been a lot of good that's happened. You know, probably one of the biggest one that I'm just going to start out with is I had some really interesting traction appear in a couple of the creative projects I've been working on. Substack, some other things that I wasn't really expecting. Also, recently I found a new appreciation for my job. So, for people who watch this and not the previous ones, I have been trying to look for a job for, I don't know, 4 or 5 months now. And it's been really frustrating. Or it was. It's no longer frustrating, and I'll explain that in a minute, but for a long time it was extremely frustrating. And it was all I could think about. I drove my wife crazy because it's all I could talk about. It was on the front of my mind all the time. Have to find a job, have to find a job, have to find a job. Not because I'm in any kind of financial distress. I have a job, but I was looking for something new. The job I'm using doesn't use my degree at all. And since I already feel behind because I didn't take advantage, or really didn't earn because I tried, I didn't get an internship 6 or 7 months ago, I've really been feeling like I've been behind. And so that's been a real struggle for me, because it's like, how do I not only move forward my own goals, but also fulfill one of my highest values, which is being a provider for my wife and being able to do the things that we want to do, like get a home, get some dogs, have kids sometime in the future. I feel like I can't do that right now. Which, to be fair, I'm still in school, I'm working part-time, so obviously that's not going to be an option at the current moment, at least not easily, but it was a huge struggle, and it was really, really weighing on my self-worth, which is probably the biggest thing. But, you know, as this week has kind of gone on, I came to a realization, which is I actually enjoy the current project I'm working on. So for work right now, I'm working at a tech startup, and we're starting to build out our marketing funnel and social media funnel, right? So I've been spending most of my 20-hour work weeks creating e-learning videos. It's something that the CEO really wants, and it's something that I've been doing for fun for a long time. And I really enjoy it. It's really satisfying being able, at the end of the day, to go through and watch back the project that I've spent so much time on. And so it's helped kind of ease the burden as well. And I do feel for people out there who are currently looking for a job. Again, you'll have to forgive me for the darkness that's going on. I'm doing this in my car again. But back to the point. The other thing that's made it less frustrating of an experience is learning more about what's actually going on in the economy around the globe. So a lot of people won't believe this because they get their news from CNN Money or some other source, or maybe just don't know, and that's fine. But the economy is not nearly as good as news outlets and central bankers say it is. I'm going to be coming out with a video here soon that explains that a little bit more. Actually, maybe 2. I'm thinking about doing another one. But it's not as good as everyone says it is. That's been something that I've known for a year, but I didn't, right? I guess not new, but I had an idea based on research I'd done for classes and for Wealth and Wisdom, which is a newsletter that I write twice a week on LinkedIn and Substack. And the numbers just aren't adding up to what's being said. And recently we hit kind of the final nail that many of my fellow finance students at my school and some of my professors were worried about and were predicting months ago. We're talking back in March. And that is that for people who are new to economics, one of the last things to go right before you have a recession is employment. So that's kind of the secret driving factor of what actually drives economic growth and drives prices and drives that, is whether or not people have a job. It's one of the main factors. And we're seeing job openings disappear. Layoffs are starting to happen around the United States, at least where I live, and actually in other parts of the world. Canada is talking about doing layoffs. And so that makes it really hard to find a job. I mentioned that as a comment on Reddit. What was it? Back in July, June, and everyone told me I was crazy. But even back then, some analysts were saying, look, we can tell by what's happening around the globe and what has been happening for the last really 24 months, that the picture that we're being fed and the story that we're being fed is just not true. It's not what's actually happening. And we're starting to see the effects of that. Biggest one being companies just aren't hiring because they're worried that this is all going to come crashing down over the next year. And so they're trying to brace for impact. So that made me feel a little bit better because I'm in a position where I have a job. I know it's not going anywhere. Yeah, we're operating on a burn rate. We're not making any money yet, but the CEO is confident he wants to do this. He's happy to continue to pay for it. And his money, his kind of wealth that he generates comes from industries that are fairly recession proof. So I'm feeling pretty confident about where I am right now, even if I don't find a job. Not saying I'm not going to keep looking. I am as I get closer to graduation, but for the interim, it's feeling a little bit less frustrating. As I say that, I really wanted to just add very briefly, my heart goes out to any of you who watch this dark video that's going on right now. I'll probably clean it up a little bit so it won't look nearly as bad when I post it as it does right now as I'm recording it. But for those people who are struggling at the moment, please understand that I get where you're coming from. You know, I saw my brother go through this several years ago. It's happening to me and my brother now. And for the first time in my life, I understand why. And so that really makes my heart break for some people, especially people who have been unemployed for 6, 7, 8, or 9 months, which we're starting to see. So anyway, the other thing is there's just been, I guess kind of the drag down is there's been a lot of drama in our personal lives recently. I don't want to go into the details. Y'all know that I don't like telling tales out of school, and so I'm just going to kind of leave that as is. But for the first time in quite a while, my anger, which is probably one of the emotions I feel the strongest, has been at like an all-time high. But that came with some surprising blessings. Thankfully, most of it wasn't directed at me. If it had been, I would have just had, pardon my French, the damn fight and dealt with it. Not saying that the people that's happening to can't do that, and they do. The people in my life that are dealing with this right now are good communicators, but it affects me and it affects my wife. And just that high level of stress and drama has kind of drawn me and my wife closer. It's been sad, but it's been a real blessing to me that I can sit there and be there for her. As silly as that sounds, and maybe some of like the, I don't know, alpha male types are gonna be like, oh, like, I don't know, how dare you, like that makes you look weak, whatever. It doesn't matter, okay? For especially younger guys here, I have dated around a lot. I've done a lot of things. I've grinded, you know, I've done most of the stuff that men, the Sigma and alpha male types will tell you is like, oh, this is the highest success. I'm not a millionaire yet. We're on our way there, but not close to that yet. But I've done most of the other stuff, and nothing even comes close to the satisfaction and the joy that you feel from a rewarding, satisfying, and meaningful relationship. There's something so special that comes from being able to sit there at the end of the day and know that there is someone who cares deeply for you and someone you can care for, that you can put above yourself and give you this higher purpose. So that's kind of my soapbox. I'm going to hop off now. That's my 2 cents on the issue. Nothing comes close. Anyway, it's been hard, but that's been a big blessing. Through all the drama and the tears and everything else that's come with it, I've been able to be there for my wife. And we've spent more time together. And it's something I want to keep doing. In fact, I'm highly considering next year, I don't know if it's going to happen this year, next year, carving out whole chunks of the holidays for just me and her and telling everyone else to go screw off. But I got to be careful with that. I'm a fairly disagreeable person, and so I can get that way and I can hurt feelings, so I got to be careful with what I say. But it's been a really nice moment to just spend time with her. You know, even the other day we were just sitting on the couch working together because we work from home, and it's not like we were talking to each other or cuddling on the couch. We were literally just in the same room working and doing our own separate work tasks. It was really nice. So I'm hoping and praying things start to get a little bit easier, especially for her. She's swamped with a lot of stuff right now, but that was a surprising blessing. And I think that's what I think that's what I'm actually going to end up titling this video, is Hidden Blessings in Hell or something like that, just because it's been a lot of crazy, but a lot more good. So yeah, if you guys find this helpful, leave me a comment, let me know what stood out to you, what resonated with you, and share it with someone who could use it right now. Legitimately, that's why I do this, why I'm doing these video journals. Well, part of it, as I've said before, the biggest part is for me to kind of regurgitate my emotions and process them. Speaking helps me do that. But it's also because in the back of my mind, I know that something of what I say is going to reach out and touch somebody. At least that's my hope. And so if that's you, please let me know, because it would mean the world to me to know that people are actually benefiting from this. So anyway, that's my little spiel. Thank you so much for watching or listening, and I will see y'all next week.